Welcome back to another Unscrewed Mind podcast highlight. In this episode, Rusty and I are talking about Neville Lancelot Goddard. Neville has written some really popular books like The Feeling is a Secret, At Your Command, and Your Faith is Your Fortune. And he also has some great lectures out there that are interesting and enlightening. Now, obviously, when you read his works, you have to consider the time frame. Some of the references are very dated, but spiritually, there's a lot of great insight. One of Neville's core beliefs is that God's greatest gift to man was his imagination. And Neville also believed that we were given dominion over this world because we have the ability to conceive and then the power to become that which we conceive. And so I thought before we get into this highlight, we could take a moment to talk about how you can use your imagination and visualization to achieve any goal you set for yourself. Visualization is a technique that is used by executives, athletes, and musicians to imagine success and improve performance. The reason why this works is because you experience real-world activities and imagined ones in much the same way. When visualizing, you activate many of the same neural pathways that you would when actually physically doing something. When done properly, visualization can help you feel more motivated and confident. You can use it to rehearse upcoming scenarios to help you feel more prepared. And also because visualization is a lot like meditation, it can help you reduce anxiety and manage stress. Here's a simple 3-step process to help you visualize success and achieve that next goal. The first step is to name your desire. What are you striving for? What are you trying to achieve? What is the goal? Once you have this narrowed down, write it down on a piece of paper and be as specific as you possibly can, and keep that piece of paper with you. An example of a goal that you could write down would be that by such and such a date, I am going to move out of my apartment and buy my first house in whatever neighborhood. Step number 2, construct an event that you think you would encounter once you've achieved your goal. Write this out again like you would the scene from a movie and be as specific as possible, because this will help you paint a picture for step 3. Where are you going to be at? Who else is going to be there? What are you wearing? How do you feel? The last time I visualized a goal, I was visualizing the new house that my wife and I were going to buy. And as part of that visualization exercises, we had looked at some pictures of houses here and there and kind of had an idea of the style we were going for. So I imagined me meditating on the back porch of this new house and opening my eyes from that meditation, and my wife was sitting next to me and we're sipping coffee and we're chatting about whatever we have going on for that day. And then I would get up with my cup of coffee, walk through the house, scoop up my keys, go into the garage, and drive off to the gym. And this is something that I did for 3 or 4 months daily. And I just imagined how great it was going to feel to be in that new house. And that's the first thing I did the day after we bought the house, was sit on the back porch and just think about how grateful I was to having achieved this goal that I'd set out for. Step 3 is to meditate. This is where you sit quietly and imagine the scene in your mind. Visualize the exact moment that captures what success will look like. Do this consistently, twice a day, for 10 minutes per session, and get lost in the feeling of having achieved your goal in the here and now. Finish this meditation off with the intense feeling of gratitude, thankful for all that you've accomplished. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Have you heard the one about the walnut and the beans inside the glass jar? Have you seen that one?
Tell me. Dude, so this speaker's on stage, and it's all about how people who start with nothing, how can they go as far or be as successful as someone who starts out with all the advantages. And so the picture that they draw is this picture of making, the goal is you need to make yourself in your mind as big as you can, or as big as you want to be. And so in this jar, you put walnuts and you put beans. And life is vibration, right? Everything out there is energy. And as you shake this glass container, this glass jar, you can see that the big walnuts rise to the top and all the beans fall to the bottom. Okay. And so you have someone with big ideas who made themselves big. Then you have someone with tiny ideas who allowed themselves to stay small, and how they separate. And so someone might say, well, what if you take one of the beans and you give it all the advantages of the walnuts on top? So you take a bean, set it on top of the walnuts, and you shake it, and that bean stays small, and eventually it finds itself right back down at the bottom. Same thing with a walnut. Take a walnut, you bury it in the bottom underneath all those beans, and as you shake it, that big walnut finds its way to the top with the other walnuts. And so it's just this vision or a picture of how you see yourself determines where you end up.
So are you a walnut or a bean? Is that what you got to ask yourself?
The goal is to be a walnut.
Right.
You know, if you're going through life trying to be a walnut, but you don't see yourself as one, then you're not going to be as successful as someone who sees themselves giant,
Yeah.
and allows the universe to bring them everything that giant person should have or would have. You know, getting lost in the picture of what you want, having that feeling, and then saying to yourself, "It is done" or "It is finished." And a lot of that would be just really neat reading through it. And visualization. I saw another video on YouTube today. It was one of those where they have like different videos and cuts of famous people speaking, and then halfway through it cuts into what must have been a TED talk that talked about how visualization is the key to achieving what you want.